Hey everyone, it's Sweets Rose, and today I'll be talking to you about the complaint that Johnny Bananas filed back in 2011 against HBO, Time Warner, and the creator and director of the Entourage series, relating to Entourage's depiction of a cartoon gorilla, Johnny's Bananas, in some of the episodes on season 7 of Entourage. I will be pulling up Johnny Bananas complaint. Also, the motion to dismiss that was filed by HBO and ultimately was successful in dismissing Johnny's complaint. In full disclosure, I am a fan of 2022 present day Johnny Bananas. I think he's done an amazing job at developing a multifaceted personal brand that has withstood the test of time. Top 1% of MTV's challengers who's been able to do that. He's now successfully transitioned from being strictly reality TV over to hosting for a major network, NBC's Celebrity Sleepover and First Look, which is not easy to do. That's a very competitive space. It doesn't seem to be well known that he actually did file this lawsuit against HBO, but he did recently allude to the fact that HBO used his name on Jason Tartick's Trading Secrets podcast. If you're getting value from this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to stay notified of all of our upcoming videos. So let's dive right into the complaint. I'm going to pull it up here and we'll walk through it. While I am an attorney, nothing in this video nor any of the content on our social media platforms is legal advice. This content is strictly for informational, educational purposes only. Without further ado, let's jump right in. So this was filed in New York by plaintiff John Devenanzio against Home Box Office Inc., Time Warner Inc., Douglas Ellen, and Joe John and Jane John 1 through X. Sometimes when a plaintiff is filing a lawsuit, they don't know the identities of every single person that could be relevant to their claims. HBO is a very large company, so sometimes as attorneys, we don't know every single person to name at the outset because we haven't had the chance to get discovery yet. We haven't had the chance to depose anybody or subpoena anything or submit interrogatories, which are written questions for the other side to answer. We haven't had the chance to request documents from the other side. That all happens later on after the initial filings. Sometimes you want to reserve your ability to add more defendants later on. So that is why you'll hear of like John Doe or Jane Doe defendants that are named. I've most often seen it referenced as Does 1 through 100. Johnny's attorneys put Joe John and Jane John 1 through X. It looks like his equivalent of doing a John Doe complaint. This complaint says that plaintiff John Devenanzio, aka Johnny Bananas, as an attorney, we see AKA, also known as, referenced a lot in legal filings. Whenever I hear AKA now, I always think of Nelly T, one of our favorite challengers, because he loves saying AKA. So Johnny's attorneys refer to him as a professional actor of good repute, was a cast member of MTV's The Real World Key West, The Duel, The Inferno 3, The Gauntlet 3, The Island, The Ruins, Cutthroat, and Rivals, here and after the shows. And they say that he made a career out of and portrayed the character of Johnny Bananas on the shows. I think another noteworthy comment here is about the difference in the way that reality TV is viewed now in 2022 versus how it was viewed back in 2011. To refer to oneself as a professional actor, and honestly, 2011 Johnny Bananas, it's sort of questionable. I guess it's a matter of opinion whether he was regarded as having good repute. I think nowadays for sure he's definitely he's even talked about his own, personal development and how he's grown. But back in the day, that may have been questionable. Regardless, nowadays, like reality television is regarded more highly, in my opinion, than back 11 years ago. Johnny actually has publicly spoken on his own podcast and in different interviews that he's done about how when he goes on to the challenge, he's very cognizant of the fact that they're making a television show and that there's a production element to it, and he wears kind of like a production hat as well as being a cast member, which as fans we're all very grateful for. Thank you, because he kind of goes out of his way to make entertaining TV, and in doing so his like portrayal of his own self may be different than the way that he would necessarily act or be when he's around his own family and friends at home. He has been very candid about that when he comes off of the challenges and he comes back home with his family and friends, he is different than the character that is portrayed on the shows. It's almost like a means of survival, because according to him, if he went onto the challenge as John Devenanzio and the way that he is with his family and friends at home, he wouldn't be as good at surviving in that type of like physically taxing, torturous, mentally taxing environment. So, I think back when this was filed years ago, I think it would be viewed as very strange to be saying like, I'm on reality TV. I'm a professional actor. I, portray this character, Johnny Bananas, on these shows. Whereas now it kind of has different meaning, like the optics of it when you look back. In my view, is that there is that component now of like even being on reality television that you are somewhat portraying a character and setting forth a different version of yourself. That by virtue of plaintiff's such characterization and portraying of character of Johnny Bananas in the TV shows, plaintiff acquired and is popularly known in the entertainment world as Johnny Bananas. All times hereinafter mentioned defendant Douglas Ellen is serving or has served in the capacity of creator, writer, executive producer, executive music producer, and director of the HBO television series Entourage. I like to say it like the Parisian way, Entourage. So, defendant Home Box Office Inc., HBO, was and is a Delaware corporation registered as a foreign business corporation under the laws of the state of New York, and maintains its principal office in New York. The defendant Time Warner Inc. was and is a Delaware corporation registered as a foreign business corporation under the laws of the state of New York, and maintains its principal office in New York. These next paragraphs are talking about all of the connections that these defendants have with the state of New York. They were engaged directly or indirectly in any and or all aspects of the processes leading to the creation and airing of the aforementioned Entourage, including but not limited to writing and editing scripts, casting, acting, producing, distributing, broadcasting, and assisting in any of the aforementioned or similar processes for the named Entourage that were aired through internet, TV, blogs, and various websites such as youtube.com in the state of New York, and that by their such acts, defendants were in their individual capacities or collectively actually engaged in the conduct of their business in the state of New York to subject themselves to the jurisdiction of the courts of the state of New York. On or about season 7 of Entourage, defendants in their individual capacities or collectively have knowingly caused the preparation, production, and widespread broadcasting within the state and elsewhere, namely Entourage, that includes an unwarranted, unauthorized, and unfavorable mention of plaintiff's name and personality and allusions to plaintiff's physical and mental character in named Entourage. Entourage is a popular show of an international reputation and exerts a great influence throughout the United States, Canada, and other countries, and in the television entertainment business and field of communication. By virtue of its wide appeal and portrayal of the character Johnny Bananas and or Johnny's Bananas, the defendants are destined to do irreparable harm to the plaintiff in Entourage. Okay. On or about season 7 of Entourage, the aforementioned Entourage was aired through internet, TV, blogs, and various websites such as YouTube.com in the state of New York and elsewhere since name date and continues into the present. The appearance of plaintiff's name and characterization in Entourage causes the plaintiff to be associated and identified in connection with defendants. The defendants are engaged either directly or indirectly in the processes leading to the manufacture, sale, distribution, etc. of certain goods and apparels that bear the logo and or name of Johnny Bananas and or Johnny's Bananas that are marketed, sold directly and through active websites in the state of New York. You're probably like, why are they over and over again talking about the defendant's contacts with the state of New York? The reason is because of something called personal jurisdiction. There has to be sufficient minimum contacts with that state, with that forum, in order for it to be fair to require a defendant to litigate in that particular forum. So if you have, for example, a defendant like Johnny Bananas who resides in California and he's suing this company, he's choosing to sue in New York, and his lawyers have to establish that courts of New York have the jurisdiction, have the appropriate authority to rule in this particular case. They're saying, well, HBO has its principal place of business in New York, and therefore it's fair for us to drag HBO into court in New York and to force them to litigate in this state. Time Warner allegedly owns HBO and has its principal place of business in New York. And these, unidentified defendants, they were all involved in, casting, scripting, editing of these shows and the manufacturing of these goods that bear the logo Johnny's Bananas. And they have sufficient minimum contacts with the state of New York, and therefore it's fair that this lawsuit be brought in New York. The plaintiff has not given his consent to or in any way authorized the use of his name and characterization in Entourage and or for goods. The defendants took the plaintiff's name and characterization and used in Entourage and or for goods without plaintiff's consent and authorization. Defendants have knowingly participated, aided, and conspired with to violate plaintiff's right of privacy. The use by defendants of plaintiff's name, characterization, and personality for advertising purposes and for purposes of trade and commercial benefits was without the consent, written or oral, of plaintiff or anyone authorized by him to give such consent, was entirely unauthorized, and constitutes a violation of Section 50 of the Civil Rights Law of the State of New York. Defendants have acted knowingly, willfully, and in bad faith. Defendants and their agents have committed tortious acts within the state of New York which are causing injury to plaintiff. Plaintiff demands that A, an injunction enjoining defendants from any further unauthorized reproduction, publication, distribution, or other use or exploitation of the Entourage and of any other advertisement containing plaintiff's name or characterization or personality. B, an injunction directing defendants to recall, assemble, and turn over to plaintiff all copies of the Entourage and of any other advertisement containing plaintiff's name or characterization or personality, including all prints, negatives, and other paraphernalia from which the Entourage or any portion thereof that includes a plaintiff's name or characterization or personality be produced. And the defendants are also jointly and severally liable to plaintiff for compensatory and exemplary damages. And then he goes through his second cause of action, his third cause of action. Essentially, he talks about how HBO has been unjustly enriched by the use of his name and allegedly referencing his personality in season 7 of Entourage. He also sets forth emotional distress claims. He claims that they have, he's experiencing a lot of pain and suffering because of HBO's actions. It says that because of defendants' visibility in the entertainment industry, their offensive and disparaging statements greatly injured the plaintiff in his profession as an entertainer and caused him great mental anguish and pain. that plaintiff has been deprived and damaged in plaintiff's reputation and profession by defendant's aforementioned conduct. The plaintiff has suffered monetary loss together with great pain and attendant anxiety. Plaintiff has been damaged in a substantial sum of money to be determined by a court. So he's asking for compensatory and exemplary damages. He wants a permanent injunction directing defendants and their agents to recall and turn over to plaintiff all past and present recordings of named Entourage and of any other recorded or filmed content containing plaintiff's name or characterization or personality, including all masters and other associated media and paraphernalia from which the entourage or any portion thereof that includes plaintiff's name or characterization or personality be produced by any present or future methods. You will often see plaintiffs asking not only for remedies at law, such as compensatory damages, but also equitable relief, such as an injunction. And their argument is that, I can't be made whole by just money damages. Johnny's saying, like, my reputation has been damaged. I'm experiencing a lot of emotional distress because of this. I am being interfered with in my role as an entertainer by, Johnny's bananas that is depicted on Entourage, and therefore I also need an injunction where you essentially recall all of the tapes, I guess, like recall all of the distributions of Entourage, that the episodes that featured my name. Really interesting to look at this case that was filed in 2011. Nowadays we have like streaming services, we have DVRs, we have like very easy ways for people to record television shows. Practically speaking, as a practical matter, there are a lot more logistical obstacles to that type of relief, given like the changes of technology that exist now. So now let's take a look at HBO's response, which says, plaintiff John Devenanzio, a self-described star of reality television who alleges that he is known to fans by the nickname Johnny Bananas, claims in this lawsuit that his publicity rights have been usurped by a cartoon gorilla named Johnny, who briefly appeared in the final episodes of the popular HBO original series Entourage. Mr. Devenanzio's claims, however, reflect a fundamental misunderstanding of the law governing publicity and privacy rights. Mr. Devenanzio's claims each fail as a matter of law for multiple reasons, including that nicknames such as Johnny Bananas are not protectable as a matter of law, the cartoon gorilla is not a depiction of Mr. Devenanzio, and no use of plaintiff's name was ever made in connection with advertising or trade as required by the relevant statute. In addition, his claims are barred by the 1-year statute of limitations for misappropriation claims because the cartoon gorilla at issue made his first appearance on Entourage more than a year before plaintiff filed this lawsuit. His complaint, therefore, should be dismissed. So for purposes of discussing this case, it's not necessary for us to get deep into the weeds about the law governing misappropriation of one's name or identity, or violation of one's right of publicity. And I did speak about these topics in a recent video, which I'm going to link below. Defendant Home Box Office Inc. is a premium television company. Defendant Time Warner Inc. is HBO's parent company. To HBO's and Time Warner's knowledge, defendant Douglas Ellen, the creator and executive producer of Entourage, has not been served with process. So in order to, once again, be able to have personal jurisdiction over a defendant, to be able to force them to, come to court and litigate a case, you do have to properly serve them. There are actual rules called the Rules of Civil Procedure that govern proper service of process. And HBO is claiming that supposedly Johnny's attorneys didn't properly serve Douglas Ellen, or that he was never actually served with process. One of HBO's highly successful original series has been Entourage, which ran for 8 seasons beginning in 2004 and concluding just a few months ago in September 2011. Entourage has never depicted, portrayed, mentioned, referred to, or otherwise used the name or likeness of Mr. Devenanzio in any way. From the beginning of its run, Entourage centered on the exploits of actor Vincent "Vinny" Chase, Vinny's older and less successful actor brother, Johnny Chase, and their entourage, consisting primarily of agent Ari Gold and friends/business associates Eric Murphy and Turtle. The character Johnny Chase, played by Kevin Dillon, was known throughout the series as Johnny Drama or just Drama. That Johnny Drama never quite reached the heights of fame achieved by his younger brother Vinny was a recurrent theme or plot device over the 8 seasons of the series. A mashup or series of combined excerpts of scenes featuring Johnny Drama is publicly available on HBO's website via this shortened link. And an extended discussion of the character can be found on the Johnny Drama Wikipedia page. Johnny Drama's lack of suitably prominent employment became a particular theme during season 7, and the storyline involved increasingly urgent attempts by the other characters to secure a starring role for him. Insofar as relevant to plaintiff's claims, this effort came to a head in episode 85, the 7th episode of season 7, titled Tequila and Coke, in which the character Billy Walsh, who had previously directed films in which Johnny Drama had supporting roles, pitches an idea for a new project in which Johnny Drama would finally have the leading role. In this case, however, it is a cartoon that Walsh is pitching, and Johnny is asked to voice the star, a cartoon gorilla. Walsh names the cartoon character Johnny for Johnny Drama and tentatively titles his show within the show Johnny's Bananas. As reflected in the DVD, Walsh presents sketches of the characters for his cartoon series, including the lead gorilla, which is self-evidently based on the appearance of Johnny Drama himself. Walsh, Johnny, and Johnny's manager, Eric, have the following exchange. Walsh: because I've known you for so long, I feel super confident that I can tailor a character around your voice, and I have the perfect character. Johnny Drama: well, now I'm ready, Billy. Show me what you got. Walsh holds up a sketch of the gorilla. Johnny Drama: what the hell is that? Walsh: I mentioned something about this to you earlier, and I think you thought I was joking, but I wasn't. Johnny Drama: what is it? Walsh: it's you, Johnny. I don't follow. Did you draw that? Yeah, it's pretty good. Thanks. What does it have to do with me? It is you, Drama. You're a high-strung simian trying to make it in a human world that just doesn't get you. Is that some kind of joke? Nah, it's not a joke. Here, say something. Say something? Yeah, hold this up here and say something. Walsh holds the gorilla sketch over Drama's face. Get that out of my face, bro. See, his voice is perfect. You want me to voice a mean gorilla? Nah, he's not mean. He's misunderstood like you. He's named Johnny. We call it Johnny's Bananas. That's not funny. It made me laugh. I mean, can you write a script? I already did an outline while I was meditating. I just have to transcribe it to paper. Well, great. What does it say? Can you pitch it to us? Okay, so Johnny's ex-wife is a nasty little black widow spider monkey named Julie. She's getting remarried to a baboon named Ronald. It's a big ceremony. It's the talk of the town. But when Johnny stops paying alimony, she tells him that it was only a love ceremony, that it's not legally binding, and that she's taking him to court. And then Johnny goes bananas. HBO then says, suffice to say, Johnny Drama is not keen on the idea and walks out in a huff reminiscent of an angry gorilla. So the subject next comes up in the 9th episode of season 7 when the network expresses enthusiasm for Johnny's Bananas, and other Entourage characters redouble their efforts to persuade Johnny to take the starring role. Under the gentle suasion of an attractive secretary at his manager's office, Johnny begins to soften, eventually conceding that the cartoon gorilla does kind of look like me, doesn't he? And when the secretary finally persuades Johnny to meet with the producer at the network, where a presentation has been staged to appeal to Johnny's ego, Johnny first nearly explodes while waiting in the reception area, and then, when finally greeted by the producer in the reception area, abruptly accepts the job and walks out without ever seeing the presentation around the corner in the conference room. So, over the course of the final 10 episodes of the series, comprising season 8, the subject of Johnny's bananas is mentioned approximately a dozen times. First, in episode 89, Johnny's co-star, Andrew Dice Clay, appearing as himself, is described as second banana to Johnny's lead character, and at a party, a few seconds of actual cartoon footage showing the characters is seen being screened in the background. Episodes 90 and 93 include brief descriptions of recording sessions for the voiceovers. We learn that Johnny's Bananas is rated well by test audiences, and there are occasional references to going bananas and fleeting glimpses of cardboard cutouts of the gorilla characters that decorate the studio hallway. In these later episodes, Andrew Dice Clay goes on strike for more money, and Johnny faces the dilemma whether to join him in walking out or accept a substitute second banana in the production. By the series finale, the labor dispute ends happily. As is evident from the summary of the contents of the episodes, there is no reference directly or indirectly to Mr. Devon Anzio. The cartoon seen briefly in the background of a party during episode 89 also appeared on HBO's website, and a copy of it in its complete form is attached to the Aberton Affirmations Exhibit 11. This is the only such cartoon distributed by HBO, and the brief excerpt included in episode 89 is the only time any portion of it was shown in the series. HBO also has sold on its website t-shirts featuring an image of the gorilla Johnny, as well as other t-shirts with scenes from the cartoon. Then they go into a pretty long legal argument where they say that Johnny cannot state a claim for relief. He has not met the standard. As a matter of law, HBO did not improperly use plaintiff's nickname. Nicknames are not protectable as a matter of law. They argue that no connection exists between plaintiff and the Johnny of Johnny's Bananas. This was a cartoon gorilla that was clearly modeled after the actor who is playing Johnny Drama. Plaintiff's name was not used for advertising purposes or for purposes of trade. And again, we're not going to get into the weeds of these legal arguments because ultimately this case actually turned on a technicality. The final argument that HBO made, which was ultimately successful on this motion to dismiss, was that plaintiff's Johnny Bananas claims were time barred. All apart from the foregoing substantive barriers to Mr. Devon Anzio's claims, they're also time barred. The statute of limitations on claims brought under Section 51 is 1 year, and courts within the First Department have consistently held that this limitations period begins to run upon the first appearance of the character at issue and does not run anew with the arising of each separate episode featuring that character. Thus, for example, when plaintiff Michael Costanza sued the producers of Seinfeld under Section 51, arguing that the character George Costanza was based on him, the court found his claims time-barred because the limitations period commenced from the inception of the Seinfeld program, which had occurred more than a year before the lawsuit was filed. So here, the first mention of the show within the show called Johnny's Bananas, which was described as featuring an animated gorilla named Johnny, occurred in season 7 of Entourage in the episode entitled Tequila and Coke. It was telecast on August 15, 2010. As a result, the statute of limitations began to run on that date. Plaintiff filed his complaint on October 3rd, 2011, nearly 2 months after the expiration of the limitations period. For this reason alone, plaintiff's claim must be dismissed. There is something called the statute of limitations, where in order to maintain an action against another person or another entity, you have to file your claim in time. Under New York law, for the claims that Johnny Banana was bringing, the misappropriation claim had a 1-year statute of limitations. And the episodes of Entourage that first referenced Johnny's Bananas, show within a show, were telecast originally in August of 2010, and Johnny did not file his lawsuit until October of 2011, which was almost 2 months past the 1-year statute of limitations. So the court ultimately granted Entourage's motion to dismiss and dismissed this case on that technicality, on that technical ground, that the that Johnny Bananas had not filed his claim in time. And the court then didn't even have to get into the weeds of addressing the legal arguments. Let me know in the comments below what other cases in the entertainment news that you're interested in hearing about. Check out these other videos and subscribe to our channel to stay notified of our upcoming videos.